are already in the most awaited part of our program partner. So I will have the honor to introduce to you our next speaker for this afternoon. Sabi ko kanina, di ba, no one is born a leader, but anyone can be one. And being a leader is linked to being able to motivate and lead with vision and purpose. And that is what we will be highlighted for the first talk we will have this afternoon titled Motivation and Engagement, Leading with Vision and Purpose. And our third speaker for this webinar is the founding dean of the De La Salle University College of Law, which is the first law school in the Philippines to highlight human rights and legal aid as part of its educational program. He is also the chair of the Free Legal Assistance Group, or FLAG, which is the oldest organization of human rights lawyers in the Philippines known for handling cases involving civil, political, economic, social, and cultural rights. He has been practicing law for 30 years and gained prominence as a human rights lawyer and litigator. He is known and adopted as Wak Lolo by young Filipinos because of his progressive stance on issues, his advocacy for youth empowerment, and his witty remarks despite the occasional dad jokes. He also continues his advocacy for justice, human rights, and empowering the youth by being a speaker for various events for numerous schools and organizations all over the country. And National University Manila is lucky to be one of those. So again, we are honored to present to all of you Attorney Jose Manuel Jocno for this webinar titled Motivation and Engagement, Leading with Vision and Purpose. So once again, let us all welcome Attorney and give him a virtual round of applause.
Good afternoon, Attorney.
Hello, good afternoon at magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. I'd like to, of course, first thank the National University Junior Philippine Institute of Accountants, Manila, and everyone who organized this webinar. At syempre, hi sa lahat ng taga-National University, mga estudyante, mga faculty, mga administrator. Excited akong makipaghalubilo sa inyo ngayon dahil maganda itong topic natin. Leadership. I think during this lockdown, palagay ko pumasok sa lahat ng utak natin yan, ano? Anong klaseng leadership ang kailangan ng Pilipinas? Anong klaseng leadership ang kailangan nyo sa inyong community? At kahit sa inyong eskwelahan, what kind of leaders, youth leaders do we need? Kasi, you know, sa tingin ko lang ha, yung ating bansa, ang Pilipinas, ay inyo na ito eh. You are the Philippines. More than half of our population are young people like you. And ito na, this is your time to shine. So I'm very excited to talk to you about what kind of leader I believe we will need for the years to come. Meron po akong ilan mga slides. Baka pwede ako mag-screen share. If I could be allowed to share the screen.
Yes, sir. Yes, Attorney, you can proceed po with sharing your screen po. Thank you.
Naka-disable pa po kaya yata siya. Ayan, okay na. Thank you. Alam niyo, itong topic natin is really a very hot topic, especially nowadays kasi ang daming mga nagtatanong kung paano ba? Ano bang mangyayari sa atin, lalo na dito sa ilalim ng pandemya? What can we do? And I'm very happy to see that the young leaders are coming up everywhere. Yung mga nangunguna sa, halimbawa, sa mga community pantry, yung sa mga inisyatibo para matulungan natin yung ating mga kapatid na nangangailangan ay puro mga nagagaling din sa mga kabataan yan. And I hope we can continue to help others. Dahil if there's one thing about this pandemic that we learned, it's that kailangan magtulong-tulungan tayo at kailangan na alam naman natin, malakas pa rin sa dugo natin yung pagkakabayanihan nating lahat. Now, let me begin by asking all of you this question. Ano ba talagang klaseng leader ang kailangan natin ngayon? Kasi kung tutuusin, sa aking pag-aaral, ay dalawang klaseng leader ang meron tayo. And I think this applies all over the world. We have the traditional leader na yung kanyang parating iniisip yung kanyang sariling kapangyarihan. The traditional leader, inuuna niya yung kanyang sariling interest, yun ang sinusulong, hindi lang yung sa taong bayan. And mas interesado siya sa kanyang pwesto na dapat siya ang number one, dapat makikinig lahat sa kanya, siya ang magdidikta. At traditional leaders tend to command by fear and by force. Pero meron din tayong ibang klaseng leader, yung servant leader. Yung leader na mas interesado ma-empower ang iba kaysa ang sarili. Yung leader na inuunan niya yung kinakailangan, yung interest ng komunidad at ng ating bansa kaysa sa sarili niyang interest. Yung leader na talagang may hugot ang puso niya para sa mahihirap. Yung leader na nirerespeto natin kaya tayo sumusunod dahil iginagalang natin siya and there is a relationship of trust with the leader. A leader who inspires and who helps and listens to others. What kind of leader do we need? Well, I think I will throw the question to you at kayo na dapat, dahil inyo na nga ang Pilipinas, kayo na dapat ang magdesisyon kung anong klaseng leader ang kailangan ng Pilipinas ngayon. Pero ito lang, konting advice lang. Ito ay natutunan ko sa aking ama. Sabi niya noon pa, noong mga 1980s pa ito, sabi niya, if we really want to build our nation, if we want to build a just and humane nation, we need two things. Dapat meron tayong national consciousness and also a national conscience. Kaya himay-himayan natin, let's dive deeper into ano bang ibig sabihin ng national consciousness at ano rin ang ibig sabihin ng national conscience. Una, tingnan natin yung national consciousness. Palagay ko naman, nasa atin na ito eh. We are already conscious of ourselves as Filipinos. Palagay ko, nandyan na yung pagka-Pinoy natin. Alam naman natin yan eh. Ako, bago ng lockdown, kung ako'y lumalakbay sa ibang bansa at mayroon akong matagpo na Pinoy din, nagtitinginan lang kami, isang konting ngiti lang, alam na namin na Pilipino kami. But more than that, I believe we all must try to broaden our consciousness. Our consciousness of our history, dahil kung titingnan natin yung ating kasaysayan, mula pa noon hanggang ngayon, ang ipinaglalaban natin, simple lang eh. Ang ipinaglalaban natin yung ating dignidad, yung ating demokrasya, yung ating kalayaan. At sana, wag din natin kalimutan sa ating kasaysayan yung mga naunang Pilipino na sinakripisyo nila yung sarili nilang pawis, dugo at buhay para sa atin. Isipin nyo yon, hindi pa tayo nabuhay noon ay pinaglalaban na tayo ng mga ninuno natin. I like to say this all the time. Before we ever succeeded in our struggle against the Spanish colonial power, lumaban tayo ng 130 revolt na natalo tayo. Isipin nyo yon. During the more or less 400 years that we were a colony of Spain, we fought 130 unsuccessful revolts bago tayo nagtagumpay. Kung politika lang yon, kung hindi yung hugot natin ay para sa ating dignidad, palagay ko hindi na tayo lumaban nun. But imagine ang dugo ng Pilipino na kahit talo, lumalaban pa rin para sa sariling bayan. And alam nyo, yung DNA nila, yung mga bayani na lumaban noon, ay nasa inyo na yun. It is embedded in our DNA, our respect for human dignity at yung pagmamahal natin sa inang bayan. Si Jose Rizal, nako, kabataan din siya nung isinulat niya ang Noli Me Tangere. He was only 23 years old when he wrote what to me is the ultimate act of speaking truth to power. Isipin niyo si Rizal na isang tao lang yan, bata pa. Tapos ang ikinalaban niya yung buong makinarya ng isang napakalaking superpower, ang Spain. And yet, sabi niya, maninindigan ako dahil tama ito eh. Kahit na ako lang mag-isa, sabihin ko pa rin yun, dapat sabihin. I will speak truth to power. But also, we need to have a national consciousness of our diversity. Minsan ako nalulungkot na yung mga ibang thunders na tulad ko ay parang wala silang sensitivity sa gender, wala silang sensitivity sa pagkaiba-ibang kultura ng mga Pilipino, wala silang sensitivity sa iba't ibang ating religious belief and religious faith. And sana naman magkaroon yon na wala ng discrimination on the basis of color, race, gender, beliefs, and so forth. Kasi ano tayo, isang pamilya lang naman tayo. And that is the meaning really of community. Kasi kung titingnan natin yung salitang community, ano nasa dulo niya? Unity. At yun, ang isang minsan ay nawawala sa ating bansa. We must also be conscious of the inequality and injustice in our country. Ang dami-daming mga nangailangan, ang daming, lalo na ngayon na nagugutom, ang daming mga nagiging biktima ng karahasan at biktima ng inhustisya. At kailangan tayong mga may kaya, we who can help, we should help. Kaya ako, gustong-gusto ko ito nangyaring community pantry kasi yun ay talagang galing sa kalooban natin yan. It's just out of sheer desire to help other people, ay ito nga, lumitaw na nga itong community pantry. But one more point, I think, especially para sa inyong mga kabataan, kailangan natin ng isang consciousness ng ating kalikasan. Because really, it is not only our country but the entire world that is feeling the effects of climate change. At dapat alagaan natin ang ating kalikasan. Hindi na para sa amin, kami pa-exit na kami, kundi para sa inyo. Kaya lang, alam nyo, maliban sa isang national consciousness, palagay ko kulang yun Kailangan din natin ng konsyensya. Kailangan natin ng isang konsyensya na palaging iginagalang ang dignidad ng bawat tao. Kahit sino pa siya, kahit wala siyang pera, kahit wala siyang masuot na damit na magaganda, kahit wala siyang makain, tao pa rin sila. At dapat ang trato natin sa kanila ay bilang tao. We need a national conscience that is based on inclusiveness. Ang nakikita ko ngayon, napaka-divisive ng ating lipunan. Ang daming nagdi-divide. Ikaw red tag ka, ikaw ganito ka, ikaw ganyan ka. Puro dividing na lang nangyayari. Isang pamilya lang naman tayo, bakit tayo nagkakaganon? We need a national conscience based also on justice and truth. Kasi lalo na ngayon, ang daming kumakalat na mga hindi naman totoo na balita na pinalalabas nila, ganito yan, ganyan yan, yung pala fake news lang pala. And of course, justice. Kasi for the ordinary Filipino, justice is so elusive. And as a lawyer, ako, hindi ko matatanggap na kayo, mga kabataan, ay titira at lalaki sa isang bansa na walang hustisya para sa lahat. At sino pa kaya ang pwede maging konsyensya ng bayan kundi ang kabataan? You have the idealism, you have the dedication, you have the determination, and you have the drive to be our nation's conscience. Alam nyo, mula pa noon, kayo naman talaga ang konsyensya ng bayan. Panahon ni Rizal, panahon ng mga lumabantay sa mga Hapon, panahon ng diktadorya ni Marcos, marami sa inyong mga kabataan ang nangunguna doon sa pakikipaglaban natin para sa katotohanan at para sa hustisya. You are the Philippines. You are the power of our country. You can change the world and you are already doing it. Sabi nga ng isang Filipina rin, nung ito'y sinabi niya, mga 23 years old lang siya. Sabi niya, our politicians do not deserve our loyalty, but our country does. Kaya ako talaga naniniwala, you are never too young to be wise. You are never too young to know the difference between right and wrong. You are never too young to be our nation's conscience and to lead our country. Ika nga ni Margaret Mead, sabi niya ganon, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. Kaya doon sa mga ibang nakakausap ko mga kabataan na kuminsan ang parang sabi nila sa akin, nawawalan na raw sila ng pag-asa. Sabi ng iba, bakit ba ako magboboto sa sunod na halalan? Hindi naman bibilangin yung boto ko. Bakit ako magsasalita? Hindi naman ako pakikinggan ng mga nandyan sa nakapwesto. Alam nyo, hindi totoo yun. The minute we start waking up, the minute we start voicing out, the minute we start expressing ourselves, working together with others for the common good, may multiplier effect yan. Kaya magsimula tayo, 1 lang, 2, 3, maya-maya naging 5 na yan, maya-maya naging 10, maya-maya 100 na, 1,000 na yan. At hindi na natin mabibilang kung sino-sino na ang sumasama sa atin. So, never lose hope kasi ang pag-asa talaga ay nasa inyo. In fact, doon sa darating na election natin, sino ba talaga ang makakapag-decide kung sino ang magiging Pangulo, Vice-Pangulo at mga senador at kongresista natin? Kayo po. Kasi more than 40 million ang magiging registered voters sa darating na halalan na youth. So kung magsama-sama lang kayo, kung gamitin nyo yung inyong karapatang bumoto, kayo na talaga ang maaring pumili ng ating kinabukasan. Kaya isa lang pong request, kung hindi pa kayo registered, please make sure na mag-register kayo bago matapos ang deadline. Ang deadline ay September na itong taon. So make sure please you register. And of course, later when it's time to vote, please vote wisely. Huwag sana kayo madala dun sa mga magagaling sumayaw at kumanta dahil hindi naman sila sasayaw at kakanta sa Senado at sa Kongreso. Sila ay gagawa ng batas para sa kapakanan ng ating lahat. So I hope that you vote wisely and register. Ngayon, balikan natin yung issue ng leaders. How can the youth be leaders for our country and for our Mother Earth? Well, unang-una, syempre, kailangan ilalagay natin ang interest ng bansa, ang interest ng taong bayan, kesa sa interest nating sarili. Second, and sa akin so important, we all need to choose a cause larger than yourself. Ako, ang pinili kong kausa ay human rights. Pero maraming kausa dyan na very worthwhile. Maaring environment yan. Maaring women's rights, children's rights, labor issues, napakarami, social welfare. Marami talagang mga magagandang kausa dyan at marami tayong pwedeng matulungan. Kasi alam nyo, the minute you choose a cause larger than yourself, you set the wheels in motion for change in the world. And hindi nyo lang nahalata, but the more you dedicate your life to that cause, the more that change will come sooner. Kaya sana rin, lahat tayo mag-participate, lahat tayo mag-mobilize, at let's all act as one. And finally, if you really want to be a leader for our country, then you must speak your truth and live your truth. Sa totoo lang, you are all part of a long tradition of Filipino youth leaders going back hundreds of years. And you're also a part of a growing worldwide movement of young people who are changing the world. Ito mga napili ko mga litrato, hindi lang galing dito sa Pilipinas yan. These pictures come from all different parts of the world. At kita nyo naman, puro youth ang talagang nangunguna. Kayo ang nagsusulong ng pagbabago na talagang masasabi natin na tunay at genuine. Kaya kahit na ito yung pagwawakas ng aking speech ngayon, it is not the end. To me, this is only the beginning. Magandang araw po at mabuhay kayong lahat.
Alright. Thank you so much po, Attorney, for that very inspiring talk. So, ayan, partner.
That's right. So, once again po, Attorney, thank you very much. We really learned a lot.
Welcome
And
po.
now we're already going... Yes po. So, ikaw ba, partner, no? Before we proceed, ikaw ba may masishare ka ba? Like a takeaway from what Attorney said?
Yes, alam mo, ang main key takeaway ko talaga dito, partner, is that everyone is a leader, especially for our youth, no? Huwag kayong matakot na gumawa ng, na ilabas kung anong opinion nyo, no? Voice out your concerns, especially if kung ang purpose nyo is for the betterment of not only for yourself, for your family, but for your fellow Filipino, dahil we are more than capable than we ever think we are. Ayun. So, then again po, we will be
That's
proceeding.
correct.
Yes, partner. So then again, we will be proceeding with the Q&A for today's talk with Attorney Shell. So guys, then again, you can comment down your questions for our guest speaker sa ating Zoom chat box or sa ating Facebook comment box para maitanong natin ngayon kay Attorney. Alright? Okay, so ayan po, Attorney, bumabaha po ngayon ng mga thank you messages po galing sa ating mga participants. Thank you so much, Attorney. And
Ako,
I
thank you
know
din.
madami po.
Thank you din.
Yes, Attorney. Alam ko pong madami po talagang na-inspire sa talk nyo dahil ayan, I know there are a lot of aspiring leaders here and malay natin, partner, no? Baka isa pala dito maging part ng national government as well in the near future. Ayun. All right. So then again, guys, just send in your questions. All right. Sir, ito po, may isa pong question po dito. Attorney, paano po daw ba mag-start ng career sa public service coming from our participant from PUP Manila, sir?
Maraming paraan yan na kung gusto niya maging public servant. Actually, you don't even have to be a part of government to render a public service. Halimbawa, ako bilang abogado, nagbibigay ako ng free legal aid, free legal assistance. Form of public service din yun dahil tinutulungan ko yung mga nangangailangan na hindi naman makapagbayad ng abogado. So, any expertise that you have, any skill that you can share with the needy, with the marginalized, is already a form of public service. And kung ang tanong naman nyo ay gusto nyo maging bahagi ng ating pamahalaan, ay syempre, there are different ways to do that. Pwede kayo maging career civil servant at yun, magandang career din yan. But you will have to get a college degree and then take the necessary exams so that tataas kayo dun sa mga rangko ng ating civil service. Kung gusto niyo naman sa more of the political side, then you will have to get involved in either local or national politics. Barangay level, tapos sa city or municipal level, and so forth. But ako nga, you can be a leader anywhere. Kahit sa inyong maliit na barangay lang, kahit sa inyong maliit na komunidad, ay pwede na kayong mag-shine because there's so much that we can do for others. And I think nakikita nyo yon kasi kayo na mismo yung andyan on the ground, and I highly encourage that you look for ways to serve others. Kasi ang leader sa akin, yung leader hindi nagdidikta yan. Nagsisilbi ang leader. Yon ang gusto ko makitang leader para sa ating bansa. Thank you.
Thank you po, Attorney. So, ito po, Attorney, meron pong isang question. Medyo parang showbiz ang dating nito. Attorney, coming from one of our participants, Attorney, are you planning po daw ba to still, to run again for the 2022 election? Because a lot of people are rooting for you po, Attorney.
Ako, salamat dun sa sinasabi ninyo. You know, I'm very ready and willing to serve in any capacity our people. Kung kinakailangan na ako'y maging kandidato, okay rin ako dyan. Pero actually, ibabato ko sa inyo ang tanong kasi hindi naman ako magdedesisyon yan eh. It has to come from you. If you are willing to support me and to put your back, if you have my back, then of course, sino ba naman akong hindi susunod sa kagustuhan ninyo. So I hope you let me know and you let everyone know what you want in the coming elections. Because as I said earlier in my talk, inyo na ang Pilipinas at kayang-kaya nyo na maging moving force and deciding factor sa darating na election. Thank you.
Thank you as well, attorney. Ayun, medyo parang showbiz na showbiz yung dating ng question na yun. Ito, sir, may isa po kaming question again, sir, coming from one of our participant from Dalubhasa Ana Lungsod ng Lucena. Attorney, how do you describe your leadership style daw po?
Ang leadership style ko ay natuto kasi ako sa aking ama. Ang father ko, role model ko yun eh. At yung tatay ko, never na nagdi-dictate yan. Never siya nagsasabi na kung itong gagawin mo. Kahit sa aming mga anak niya, he always led by example. And that is the kind of leader I want to be and I hope I am. And I believe the real leader must be able to listen. Kaya sa akin, malaking bagay yung nakikinig yung leader. Kahit na kritisismo yon, kahit na negative yung sinasabi ng kung sino man yon, dapat pakinggan pa rin. Kasi malay natin, baka naman tama yung sinasabi nila and I can improve if I listen to them. And listening is so important because, di ba, ang isang nasa konstitusyon natin, dapat may consultation ang mga nasa pamahalaan before national decisions are made. Na meron ang right to participate in the decision-making process, nandyan sa batas natin yan eh. So I hope that I am that kind of a leader that listens, that takes into consideration other people's views. Kasi alam ko naman, hindi ako perfect. Hindi ko naman alam lahat ng sagot. And to me, the best solution is a solution that all of us work for together. Hindi lang yung ako lang ang tama at dapat susunod kayo sa akin. Ayoko ng ganong klaseng leadership. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I do agree that the best leadership style talaga is to lead by example. Being a good leader means that you should be open to all the criticism, no? Because then again, the criticisms are not there to para i-degrade ang service mo, but to help you improve. And then again, attorney, we have another question po coming from our Facebook Live viewer. Attorney, if you would describe ang bayang hindi po ba umaasa sa kabataan ay nakapundar na ng tamang pamamahala sa kasalukuyan, attorney?
Alam niyo yung problema kasi wala kayong boses sa national leadership. Most of our leaders are mas matatanda pa nga sa akin yung iba eh. And karamihan sa ating mga leader na ganon generation ay mas traditional ang dating. Kasi yun ang alam nila eh. Doon sila lumaki sa traditional na leadership. Na ako number one, dapat makikinig kayo sa akin. Yung para bang yung relationship ng ibang mga youth na sa kanilang elders in their families or communities. Kasi kung minsan may mga tanong akong natatanggap na ang tanong ninyo ay, paano ba yung minsan nagagalit yung magulang ko sa akin kasi iba ang aking pananaw sa politika o yung ganun. Sabi sa akin, makinig na lang ako at wag na lang ako magsalita. Ganyan. But, alam mo, marami sa ating mga leader, ganun din ang attitude. And I hope that kayo na dapat ang maging leader and sana mas marami pa sa youth ang tumayo as people who will look for leadership positions in our government. I have to say, of course, medyo bias ako, pero yung isang leader natin ngayon na talagang lodi ako ay si Ma'am Leni Robredo. Dahil ang kanyang leadership style, ganun eh. Nakikinig siya at ang gusto lang talaga niya tumulong sa iba. Kahit hindi makover na media yan, kahit wala pang nag-news tungkol sa ginagawa niya, basta gagawin niya yung kaya niya para makatulong sa iba.
Alright, thank you so much for that answer, attorney. So ito po, meron pa pong question coming from our Facebook Live. Attorney, with all the red tagging and any other actions against leaders of youth groups, what could be the motivating force for young people to still speak up, lead, and criticize, and provide constructive criticism with our current situation po, attorney?
Alam niyo, siguro kung pag-isipan natin kung anong motibo nila, kung bakit sila nandre-red tag at nananakot, then there we can find the solution. Kasi ako mismo, matagal ko na rin pinag-aaralan yan. Alam niyo gusto nila, manahimik na lang tayo. Kaya sila aggressive ng ganyan. kaya sila nanre-red tag, kaya ganun, parang may karoon tayong climate of fear, para tumahimik na lang lahat. Ang tanong ko sa inyo, papayag ba kayo dyan? Ang tanong ko din sa inyo, tama ba yon? Kung hindi naman tama yon at hindi naman tayo papayag dyan, wala tayong choice kundi magsalita. At isa pa, alam niyo, meron tayong pinaglalaban, yung ating pinaghirapan na demokrasya. Yung inyong kalayaan ngayon, yung freedom ninyo magsalita, yung freedom magpunta sa Facebook, mag-post, mag-tweet, mag-Instagram, lahat ng mga kalayaan natin, yung kalayaan natin na right to liberty, naku, hindi binigay sa atin yan, ipinaglaban yan. That is the result of the blood and the lives of other Filipinos. Halos isang buong henerasyon ng kabataan ang either namatay, nahuli, na-torture, o naging biktima ng human rights violations nung panahon ni Marcos. Ipinaglaban tayo nila. And if we really want to honor what they have done for us, then we can do no less than them. And we must continue the fight for our freedom and our democracy. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Attorney. So ito po, medyo madaming questions po talaga pumapasok sa ating Zoom and Facebook Live. So ito po, Attorney, from one of our Zoom participants from Cagayan State University. Hi, sir. Aspiring future lawyer po, taking up Pol Sci in Cagayan State University. My question po, sir, is can we apply the three excellences of the late Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago as a qualification of good leader, namely as academic excellence, professional excellence, and moral excellence on being a youth leader in our own communities?
Yes, agree ako dyan. At those qualities I believe are essential in any good and effective leader. At good luck din sa inyong pagiging abogado. Nako, ito, konting advice lang dun sa mga estudyanteng gusto mag-aral ng law. Alam nyo, dalawa lang ang ating sandata pag tayo ay abogado. We can only fight and argue with the written and the spoken word. Kaya yung isa kong suggestion sa inyo, ngayon pa lang, try to work on your speaking skills and your writing skills. Kasi yun lang naman ang panglaban natin mga abogado. At the same time, maghanda kayo dahil pag dumating na kayo sa law school, marami kayo talagang babasahin. Kaya get used to reading a lot of material. Thank you.
Yes, Attorney. So ito po, meron pa pong isang question coming from our Zoom participant. Attorney, what advice can you give to some of our youths that are aspiring to be a part of the government in the near future po?
Unang-una, wag natin kalimutan yung kahalagahan ng ating integridad. One thing we should always protect is our integrity. No matter the temptation, kasi alam nyo, kung pumasok talaga kayo sa pamahalaan natin, sa national government, naku, bilyon-bilyones ang magiging temptation dyan. At kung hindi matibay ang loob nyo, bibigay kayo. Kaya wag natin kakalimutan yung tinatawag natin na ideals, yung ating values, yung talagang itinuro ng ating mga ninuno sa atin. Alam natin kung ano yung tama at ano yung mali. At kasama doon sa pagiging konsyensya ng bayan, yung paninindigan para lang sa tama.
All right, thank you po again, Attorney. So ito po, from one of our participants from TUP Manila. Attorney, paano po ba i-handle ang pressure and responsibilities ng pagiging isang public servant like you po?
Siguro dapat chill lang tayo. Dapat medyo relax lang. Kaya wag masyadong galitin, wag masyadong onion skinned, wag masyadong sensitive. Being a public servant means that you can also, dapat medyo makapal din ang balat natin sa mga criticism at kahit yung mga pagbabatikos na alam naman natin na talagang parang pang-troll lang. Yung mga ganun, hindi ko na gaano pinapansin. I listen to constructive criticism, pero kung umabot na sa mga bashing at mga troll, wag na lang yung papansinin kasi kung hindi, naku, tataas pa ang alta presyon ninyo at magagalit lang tayo. So it requires us to remain to have composure and to remain poised under pressure. Thank you.
So ito po, one of our questions coming from a participant from CBSUA. So attorney, older generations of leaders daw po are almost trying to manipulate or control most of the young leaders of today. What can you say or what can you do if you are one of those youth leaders that are being either threatened or manipulated po, attorney?
I think it will help if you seek join others and seek the help of other youth leaders. Kasi kung isolated kayo at mag-isa lang kayo, madaling i-exert ang pressure sa inyo, talagang maaring pag-iinitan kayo. But if you belong to a circle of leaders who can provide peer support, who can help you also in terms of the pressure, the psychological pressure na nangyayari, and other kinds of pressure that's being exerted on you, then it makes it easier. At kung meron din kayong mentor o kaya kung meron din kayong mga older people you respect who you can run to kung talagang namomroblema kayo, makakatulong din yon. If you also, my door is open. So if ever you have issues, pwede niyo naman akong i-contact by email. At sorry, i-advertisement ko na rin ha. Meron na kasi ako na itayo na legal help desk na free. Ang tawag namin doon ay Free Legal Help Desk. Nasa FB page ko po yon, Chel Diokno, at just send a message on my FB page. Makikita nyo agad yon pag pumasok kayo dun sa page ko. Free Legal Help Desk. So kung ang katanungan nyo ay legal, doon nyo pwedeng ilagay yon. At me and my team will do everything we can to answer your legal questions. Thank you.
Yes, attorney. I think well aware naman po ang marami sa ating mga participants regarding the one that you mentioned, attorney. Kasi personally, I see a lot of my Facebook friends sharing some of the publicity materials as well. Galing po sa inyong Facebook page. And attorney, meron pa pong isang question dito. How can we try to persuade daw po the older generation to open their minds for change? Because then again, attorney, I think the concern here is older generations tend to adhere to what they are used to po. Ganun po.
Ako na mismo aaminin ko yan. As part of the older generation, kung minsan meron talagang mga matitigas ang ulo at ayaw makinig. At ganun nga, sila pa nga ang nagdidikta, parang alam nila ang lahat. I think number one, you have to be patient with those kinds of elders. At the same time, dapat wag tayo confrontational sa kanila, wag natin silang aawayin. The approach, palagay ko, the best approach is to be non-confrontational. Yung dapat medyo maganda at medyo malambot ang dating natin. But without giving ground. You must be firm, you must be able to convey what you believe in. But dapat makikinig din kayo sa kanila. Another aspect of that is timing. Alam niyo, yung ibang mga thunders tulad ko, mapapansin nyo naman may oras yan na kahit lapitan nyo, kausapin nyo, naku, hindi kayo kakausapin yan. Baka mainit ang ulo nila, baka may iba silang problema or what. Pero kung mapansin ninyo na medyo okay yung dating ng maganda at parang bukas siya sa pag-usap, yun ang tamang timing to raise the issues that you want to raise with them. Ano ko yun? Experience ko yun dahil as a member of the older generation, medyo alam ko yung mga nagiging issue namin mga thunders. Thank you.
Thank you so much, attorney. So I think that would help a lot of our participants right now, no, ng mga aspiring leaders. Kanina kasi may question din tayo from one of our participants, finding it hard, no, to continue leading in the organization due to the lack of support daw po sa kanyang family. But then again, what attorney have mentioned, ayan, I hope that helps. And attorney, patuloy pa rin po ang pagdating ng ating mga question. Ito po, another question po, given the ongoing COVID-19 crisis, what do you think should be done to ensure that the May 2022 election is free, fair, and secure?
Sana by 2022, ayos na tayo sa vaccination para hindi gaanong maging issue yung paglalabas natin. Because yun ang isa namin concern, that because of COVID, kung lagana pa rin ang COVID during the May 2022 elections, many of those or some of those who are registered might not be able to vote. Halimbawa, ang seniors, halimbawa kayo, yung mga kabataan, kung siyempre, ayaw din ng inyong magulang na kung lalabas kayo, baka mahawa pa kayo. So that's one. I think our government should really, and dapat ito naging priority noon pa yung pagpasok ng mga vaccine sa atin para magkaroon tayo yung tinatawag na herd immunity. Second, I think ngayon pa lang, dapat pag-aralan ng ating COMELEC kung assuming na nandiyan pa rin ng COVID at lagana pa rin yan sa 2022, how will we conduct the elections under that kind of environment? Kailangan siguro i-extend ang voting hours, kailangan na magkaroon na mas yung physical area ng voting dapat ayusin na para sigurado yung social distancing, etc. Yung sa fair election naman, alam nyo, sa aking experience ng 2019, ang isang napaka-unfair yung kandidatong maraming pera, parating lamang sa kandidatong konti lang ang ma-raise na pondo. Lalong-lalo na pagdating sa ads, kasi ang labanan dito ay television ads mostly. Dapat magkaroon ng legal framework yan so that level ang playing field, so that even a poor candidate who does not have the hundreds of millions ng iba dyan can also be projected on the national scene through television. Ang isa lang maganda ngayon, mas palagay ko, because of COVID rin, most of the campaign will probably be online. So, medyo mas patas, kahit sabihin natin, hindi naman totally, pero mas may laban naman tayo kung online ang magiging air war. But still, I hope that our Congress and our COMELEC will be very fair and will do everything they can to make sure that walang na patas ang laban para naman makapagpili ng magagandang leader ang taong bayan. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much again, Attorney. So, ito po, another question. Sorry po, Attorney, kung medyo madaming question.
No, okay lang.
But
Okay lang.
we have another one here po from our Facebook live viewer. So, hello, Attorney. I am James Ramos from San Beda University, Manila. I would like to ask how the youth will effectively contribute for the upcoming national and local elections for the coming years po.
Thank you for that question. Unang-una, syempre, make sure you're registered. Hindi pa kayo rehistrado, kahit na medyo sakripisyo yung pupunta ka ng COMELEC, mag-iintay ka ng ilang oras, it's worth the sacrifice for our country. So please make sure you are registered. Lahat ng mga kakilala nyo, kabarkada, kabarangay, kapamilya, sabihan nyo rin at tulungan natin sila mag-register. May mga online kasi na forms yan, yun lang, you will have to physically go pa rin sa COMELEC. Second is, let's all get involved in voter education. Hindi yung voter education na formal, yung sinasabi ko yung mas informal na voter education. Halimbawa, yung kabarangay ninyo, yung parati nyo nakikita pag kapitbahay ninyo, etc. ay let's start opening conversations with them. Hindi naman yung conversation na dapat ito ang iboto mo. Hindi naman ganun. Pero mas yung tipong ano bang quality ang gusto nating kandidato? Paano ba natin malalaman kung itong kandidato ay maayos o hindi? Kasi dapat syempre titingnan natin yung track record ng candidate at syempre titingnan din natin kung may integridad yung candidate. And these are things that we can help others to open their awareness na wag naman tayo boboto ng yung maganda lang ang ad o magaling lang sumayaw kasi hindi naman nila gagawin yan sa Kongreso. Thank you.
Yes, Attorney. I think that is so correct no na we must use our hindi lang ang ating puso no when it comes to choosing for the right candidate for the positions for the government but also our brains no sa pagpili. And Attorney, I think this would be the last question for today po. So if ever that you experience burnout from laying down your advocacy, how can you avoid beating yourself up, and when is the best time that you take your breaks po daw?
I think dapat meron tayong tinatawag na work-life balance. Na even if you are involved in advocacy work, kailangan may balance pa rin tayo. There must also be downtime na nakakapag-relax tayo. Ako, mahilig ako ngayon talagang naging mahilig ako sa mga halaman. For example, I spend a lot of time gardening, taking care of my plants. At alam niyo, nakaka-relax siya. Ako nakikinig ako sa music, minsan nanonood ako ng mga film, mga Netflix, ganyan. And these are ways of helping yourself to relax. At meron din ibang mga methods for relaxation. Bago nitong interview, ako mahilig ako maglaro ng badminton. Minsan nga talagang kinalulungkutan ko yun na hindi ako nakakalaro. Kasi pang-distress din yun eh. And it's also a way of enjoying yourself na kasi pag nasa badminton court ako para akong bata na nagtatawanan lahat, tapos enjoy lang. Wala naman kami paki kung manalo ka o matalo, basta mapawisan lang at makapag-enjoy lang. So these, mga distressing methods yun. Thank you.
Alright, thank you for sharing that, attorney. At alam ko marami din ata sa ating mga participants ang mga certified plantito and plantitas ngayon, ano? Ayan. So, then again, attorney, thank you for sharing your knowledge, insights, and participating in today's event. So, partner? Ayan.
That's right. So once again po, attorney, thank you very much. We really
thank you
appreciate your presence po for today and sharing those things to us. So Josh, ikaw ba? Alam mo, ako kanina nakikinig lang ako sa mga usapan nyo, and I am very, very happy to hear those things na tinatanong at sinasagot din ni attorney.
Yes, personally ako I am really happy na maraming interested sa ating mga participants. So again guys, do not be afraid to speak up and use your platforms, whatever means that you have, to spread awareness, not only for the betterment of yourself or your family then again, but for the betterment of also your fellow Filipinos. Ayun.
That's right. Sabi nga, di ba, one voice may not that be powerful, but once collected, once put it together, that could really provide a very big impact for change. And that is our voices. So, yun po. So once again, attorney, thank you very much. So let me have the honor to present to you this certificate of appreciation. So let me first read the content. So this certificate of appreciation is hereby given to Attorney Jose Manuel Jokno for sharing his invaluable knowledge, experience, and expertise as a guest speaker in the leadership conference entitled Pamunuan Transforming Leaders and Future Game Changers, held via Zoom meetings. Given this today, 25th day of April 2021, signed by the project heads Ms. Eloisa May Fundar, Ms. Michelle Abejero, and Ms. Tanya Aquino, and also signed by the advisor of National University JPIA, Ms. Elaine Vihar, CPA, and of course, the program chair of our college, Mr. Janus Simbilio, CPA, MBA. So once again po, attorney, thank you very much for making this event possible.
Salamat po.